to end in fire. Then we shall all burn together. Watch the flames climb high into the night, calling out, Father, oh, stand by and we will watch the flames burn over.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever is the time that you're watching this recorded lecture. Thank you very much indeed for choosing Social Network and Enterprise module. My name is Jaira Haisini, and I'm a senior lecturer on all things digital at the business school. That does include social networking enterprise, mobile business, e-commerce, global business, and I'm also a program leader for ITMV program. And I'm super excited to let you know that I've got a great team with me to deliver this module in this new academic year. And the team, as you've noticed from the actual first publication that we made, is Sunmi, Dawn, and also Nasser as well. So it's four of us going to be delivering this module together. And I'm super excited about that because always a team is better than just one. Okay. So first things first, it's the most important thing to keep in mind is the fact that you live and breathe social. So this is the thing that you do in your daily lives, social media. What we're going to try and do with this module is essentially to see what are the best ways to make sense of what's happening in social media, and also how we can learn on best practices that can be employed in the world of business. And if you wonder why, it's because very soon you'll be in the marketplace out there and need to be prepared as to how you're going to be bringing a difference and making a difference into marketing using social media in your future work environment. And that's really the most important thing. Most of you in general, that's what we see from previous years as well, is that you engage with social media every day, but you don't really look at it from the business perspective unless you are already making a living out of social media, which would be great. Would love to hear from you. But also, even if you're not, you're mainly consuming, but not really producing much of a content. So we're going to try and bring some of the tactics and techniques and approaches that you can take to get hands on things and really do make the most out of it. So first and foremost, I also hope that you're really going to enjoy this module, most of all, because if you're going to enjoy it, you're going to get the most out of it. But at the same time, it'll be a lot more fun rather than just, sitting around and trying to do the coursework and get the job done. Right. So the reason why you see this very first slide in here, there is no surprise, it's because social media is all around us. And I remember more than 10 years ago when I put together the module, the social networking module, lots of people around were a bit, not sure about it because they were saying, well, the social media is still a new thing, doesn't make much of a difference and so on and so forth. But now social media has an impact on everything from news to your shopping. And therefore, social media is not going anywhere, okay? And therefore, we need to learn how do these social networking sites work and how can we make the best out of every activity we do in social networks. And that's why there is this particular slide in here, the very first slide on the module. Obviously, this is social networking module, so loads of activities and discussions and chats. We would like to have them on social media. However, we can't do them on our own. So if you're not going to be engaging on social media and really getting a conversation going, there isn't much that's going to happen. But if that's going to happen, if we're going to have a bit more engaging on social media, then obviously this is the module hashtag for Twitter. Okay, so UH6Bus1062, which is essentially the module code that you're doing at the moment. So there is an update on what has happened in social media in the last 2 years or so. And I don't want to play the whole thing, but I really want to just touch base on what's happening in the last 3 years. And of course, there is this trend from 2004 to 2019. Okay, but I just want to comment on it as things grow. So I'm going to try and let's play this for you, and then I can just comment on it as well as I. But obviously, I need to make sure that I share that screen as well. Okay, so where are we now? Yeah, Safari. Okay. So, sharing the screen. I want to comment on it as we go along as well. You can find this on YouTube as well, but I always love to play around with this simply because back in the days when, some of you might have not even been born yet, some of you were maybe too little, we've had Friendster, one of the very first social networking sites. Then as the time went by, we had workload, and we had Flickr that was still around. And MySpace was a huge success. Then MySpace kept growing and growing and growing, and then we went from, I don't know, like tens of millions to hundreds of millions of users in the platform. And then we had High Five, and I'm sure none of you remember it, that came into the play as well. But MySpace kept growing and growing so tremendously that people thought, wow, this is going to be a game changer. In fact, there are many artists and many creators, it was really a fantastic platform. You could just grow now, just massive on MySpace again. But things got to change now. You've got YouTube picking up, okay? Videos really fast. Then you got Facebook, it's going to be like, wow, Facebook just keeps growing as well. Obviously, YouTube keeps progressing more. But then, when you realize Facebook is over MySpace for the very first time, and guess what? Now we've got a section in Facebook, and MySpace starts losing its users, right? But then we start to see the growth of YouTube embrace of MySpace, even past the season, the graph now going high, sky high, really well. But then see what happens in a second now. So Facebook really going in to grow, and before you realize, you just got to YouTube as well. You've got school changes at the bottom now, where you've got but how we're growing in, you've got coming in, but then what's really impressive is the YouTube starts to grow, okay? Then when we have people growing up, not as small group as Facebook, very much very spot, right? And of course we keep growing and those numbers we see they're like maybe users on Facebook, right? And as you know, now we think about what we do and what we get, right? We can see now that this is growth of Twitter coming up as well. That it's very short and reaching the third place on this trend that was great, right? And of course, very soon you start to see other apps disappear and new apps coming in. I guess that's also part of the growth process as well. And then you come down to Plus, try and have success in social networking, it didn't work. Despite the huge amount of effort they were putting in to get older people to try to become it just didn't work. But then, obviously, very, very soon, we had a very baby born social media. What now is Instagram? But at the moment, see now, Instagram is incredibly fast as well. You realize they had 150 million users, and guess what? They were based to the top. While, of course, chatting services, we don't very much chat service like WhatsApp, they were also doing well. And of course, the growth continues with that. And let's not forget, you can use this thing here much more global WeChat. Chinese social networks is massive as well. And if you think our social networks that we are advanced, yeah, because it's incredible. Because you can do like banking, paying, wallets, shopping, everything else within the app. Really incredible. First of all, you start to see now that the toothpaste have changed much. You know, WhatsApp joining in with over 8 people, or 800 million users. Then you put Twitter growing, but at the same time, it's what you realize Instagram really gets and it's really incredible. And of course, you know, you come here, which is Snapchat, is just coming in. The platform of these three big players, get WhatsApp and fast. I'm pretty sure that most people have social media apps on their phone. But you start to see now that Twitter growth is okay and it's growing, but really it's there. Okay. Now, obviously, that's of 2 years ago, which is understandable. But now we know where we are with social networks, because I'm just gonna try and get to my screen now. Where was okay. It's fine. I'll just so just get to my slides again. So obviously that was 2019, but you now know where TikTok is, right? Essentially an incredibly fast growing social networking platform. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to throw some case studies here and there, but it's really important to dig deep and dive in by raising as many questions as we can, not just from the perspective of our daily consumption of these platforms, but also how these platforms can be used by businesses out there. Okay, so obviously social media big, and they're growing, and they're not really going anywhere. But the vehicles, in this case, tablets and mobile, now even small watches, are having a massive impact on their growth. In other words, these are the platforms that are making social networking sites grow incredibly fast. Now, we talked about this already, but obviously, the giants of the giants on social networks, without a doubt, Facebook, which is now not just a social networking platform, is a marketplace, it's a communication platform, is a live video call platform. It's also like a group communication platform. It's got so many other things. It's a massive thing that has been developed so far. So what's happening until now? Well, clearly one of the things that is happening now that we see, because of the social media, we see a shift between the power from a plat organization now shifting to the consumers, because of these two key components, which is technology that is a communication that is enabled by technology, and that we call social media. So essentially everything you see today has been enabled by the technology. However, that technology, whichever it is, it'll be useless unless there is a communication or there is content on it. Content is what fuels social media. Of course, I mean, you can take an example straight away now, grab your phones, wherever they are, bring up your TikTok, and if you just took away the content that you see in there, it'd be useless. Yeah, super powerful platform, but without content, it's nothing. right? So that's why what we start to see now, what we call the social media and business framework, is that there is a shift between the power that organizations had now to consumers for the very first time, because now everything is in the open and everything is in public. Essentially, in the past, companies didn't worry too much if you had negative reviews or thoughts about them, because you sent an email, you sent a post, a letter, whatever it is, and they could just delete that and not worry about it at all. However, now that everything is in social media, they can't do it anymore, because that piece of content, which can be, a problem that you've had with the service or product that has been shared online, can actually go viral and can have a huge impact on a company as well. And we'll share several examples on the way and throughout the module. So this session is mainly touching base on module aims, learning outcomes, format of delivery, module components, what we plan to cover in this module, reading, assignments, and assessment criteria as well. So these are some of the highlights that we would like to cover in the session. Now, what are we aiming for? We're aiming to explore and understand the social network trends and their impact in strategic development of an organization. So it's really important that we understand these social networks, because if we don't, we will never know how these are going to have an impact in the world of business. Simple as that. Right? You can't really putting it any simpler than that. So it's really important that we dive in and we raise so many questions. Questions are really, really important, because by raising questions, we learn lots of insights that are going to be really useful for us to understand some of these social networks that, in the first instance look very, very simple, but there is a lot that goes in behind the scene. So what are some of the learning outcomes? Well, we're not going to teach you how to jump like Felix did, back in the days, but we want to essentially help you prepare. So when you jump in the world out there, you will be able to benefit from the skills you've learned in this module, from understanding social media, understanding how to use tools, understanding how to monetize social media, but also how to track and identify metrics that are going to make a biggest difference into the world of business. But at the same time, learning how to provide customer support and ultimately innovate using social media. Because let's not forget, social media essentially is a gold mine of information if we know how to use it, how to benefit from it. And you'll notice that lots of organizations that do an incredible job with it. So what is the format of delivery? Well, you've been with us for over 3 years now, because you're in 5 years. So you know that there have been changes almost every year. And then last year and the previous year, changes were massive due to COVID, and that's understandable. And I think this year we essentially universities decided to bundle these together. So what does that mean for you, which I'm sure you've already been told by program leaders, but also you'll see yourself, is that there's going to be a blended learning approach. And what that means is there's going to be essentially 3 ways you're going to be learning, engaging with us. First one is a preparation for a directed independent study. What that really means is that you will have to do an independent you will have to spend an independent amount of time studying things in the module. And how that works is essentially, we provide a pre-recorded lecture every beginning of the week. And then we introduce also a tutorial topic by the end of the session as well. We publish that tutorial topic and that brief for you with the lectures. And that is going to be down to you to work on the actual research around the tutorial topic for the coming week. Therefore, that's preparation for independent study is going to work this way, where we publish our lectures, publish the brief, you go and do research and prepare for the coming week. So that's your independent study. And that's going to be the same every week until the end of the week, until the end of the module for 10 weeks, okay? Consolidation, what is the consolidation is about? Is essentially a weekly summary followed by Q&As. That's pretty much it. There might be times when we might have something planned, like specific slides and things like that. But in general, we want to use this opportunity to touch base with you on where we are with the module, what we've covered so far, and also to take question and answers as well, right? So that is what the consolidation is. For the consolidation, there isn't much you can do apart from having questions raised for us, or maybe you want to comment on things that we've done so far in the module, or maybe you found an interesting piece of research that you want to share with us. That's also something good as well. But this is the time where it's going to be more like an interactive approach, whether it's online or offline between us and you guys. And we're going to use that time the best way we can to obviously help you out through the module. However, please keep in mind that none of these points and none of these scheduled sessions are going to be useful to you unless you engage with it. If you engage with it, they're going to be really good. But if you don't engage with it, there is nothing we can do to get you going, of course. And the third point is the application, which is essentially a scheduled campus-based session or online tutorials which you are required to attend. Don't worry about it because your timetable will tell you what it is. You know, if there is no room number, essentially it's online, and you'll have a Zoom link in your module homepage where you can just go and then click on it and then join in at your own comfort at home or wherever you are. So that is the mode of delivery: preparation, consolidation, application. So essentially, there isn't much of a change because we've done these things in the past, but it's just that we're going to have a mix of online and offline sessions as well. Okay. So I hope that's clear, but I'm sure you've heard these many, many times. So I'm pretty convinced that there are no issues in here. In terms of content, we've got a YouTube channel that has got loads of short clips and short videos on social media, which we believe can be useful to you. So that's why there is a link in there. We have set up a Facebook kind of social group many years ago. It's not really active, not being used much, but it's there. You know, if you wanted to engage with it, feel free to do that. However, again, we can't do much unless you guys decide to engage with it yourselves. Now, what are the module components? What are we aiming to cover in the module? Of course, there is this overview, but things can be changed, can be tweaked around as we see them fit. But overall, we're introducing the module today. We're going to be talking about the fundamental social networks coming week. And then we follow that up with social networking trends, how to build a social presence online, build the social networking strategies, measuring social engagement online using metrics and analytics online. And then, of course, finding ways to design social networking campaigns and what are some of the key things to keep in mind when doing it. Improving, innovating using social networks. Companies now highly are dependent on social media to collect customer feedback, to collect ideas on products and services. In fact, many companies now are using their audience to either create new products or improve existing products that they've got in the marketplace. Then we're going to talk about customer support using social media, which is incredibly important nowadays. Companies are using massively. I'm sure that if you've had an issue with a company, you probably tweet or send a message or Instagram, whatever it is, to the company. And of course, at the end, we will talk about drawbacks of social media. Just like any other technology in the world or any other technology that has arrived to this planet since we came in, essentially has had, you know, the good things and the bad things as well. And social networks are no different. So we're going to look at those as we summarize the module and as we finish that up. And as you see from the notes, we will finish the module before end of the year holiday season. So before Christmas, the module will be finished and there'll be no more scheduled organized sessions at all. So by the end of the year, it'll all be over. Okay. So what about the assessment? Assessment, surprise, surprise, sure it's going to be a good surprise to all of you. It's 100% coursework, so there's no exams, no tests, nothing like that. Because this is a very practical module, we want you to get hands on things and really be able to research, understand, put those clear ideas in the actual report. So the first part which essentially weighs 70% in the module, is the individual report. That individual report requires you to evaluate how two organizations introduce new products using social networking platforms out there. And of course, you need to illustrate your discussion with one product per company, two in total for two different companies. These product introductions must be within the last 12 months, and that's really important. So that's the first part. And of course, all the details on it with the deadline and everything else are in the module website in the assignments. They're already published and you'll be able to see them there. The second element is the group work, and a group work holds 30% weighing in the module. Now, obviously, it's really important that you pass both components, especially if you want to get a good grade, but something to keep in mind. And in fact, in most cases, group work performance is always better than the individual reports. So it kind of helps to balance, but sometimes also get a mark from like a second class to a first class as well. So it's really worthwhile to give all your energy on it. So that is the second piece of group coursework. Requires you guys to design a PowerPoint presentation which will develop and justify social networking campaign for your chosen organization. So you choose an organization, you develop and justify a campaign for social networking sites that you deem are going to be relevant to the company you chose. And also, it's important to note that your organization can be of any type that you want, and also can be any organization that you have researched for your individual report as well. The pitch must be done through slides and not for recorded video. So there's no video required. What you will be required to do is work as a team, develop that actual PowerPoint set of slides, which you can work remotely on it. That PowerPoint slide is followed by the transcript for each slide. So essentially, you would be transcribing each slide of your presentation, and that cannot be longer than 5 minutes. So you'll be timing yourself while presenting it to yourself as well. So that, and again, all the details are in the assignment section on the module website, but obviously we wanted just to highlight here for you so you know where we are with it. Reading. Reading is really important. Again, we can introduce many interesting, attractive ideas and thoughts in the actual lectures or consolidations, but unless you go and read and practice things that you read, you're not going to get that far anyway. So it's really important that you do the reading. And there is plenty of reading for you. Everything is available online. You don't need to buy a book. You don't need to do anything. You can, all you have to do is just go to the library and then click on the links and go and do your reading as we require you to do. Every week we are essentially asking you to read specific chapters of different books. And as you know, as you've seen in the module as well, we've put a drafted book together as well a few years ago, which are going to be very useful to you. Now, of course, those book chapters are going to be given to you for every week. So you'll be able to read our book chapter, then read other following resources as well that we recommended to you. Now, if you do those things, and then if you prepare and do the research for the tutorials, well, you're going to be learning a lot. You're going to be learning a lot. And most importantly, you're going to be enjoying, but also taking with you lots of valuable knowledge that are going to be particularly interested and useful to you when you go to the marketplace. A lot of students who graduated and finished, and they come back and they say, well, the thing that we talked about, social media monitoring tools, the thing we talked about, TikTok platform, whatever it is, it was really useful because I'm actually using that now to introduce new product and new service. And that makes us really, really happy. So there's plenty of things to do. There's some really nice books. Please keep in mind, as you've seen from the graph earlier and from the history of social networks are not as new, as young as you like to think. They've been around for over 2 decades. So there are book chapters and books that are older than you think. but the chapters and the things we recommended you read are relevant. So it might sound to you like some of them are, maybe old and not too recent, but some of the elements on those books are relevant and we want you to read. So if you look at the reading resources, you'll soon realize that we went from, 2007, 2008, 2009 to 2019-20 with publications. That gives you a complete range of things to learn from the moment we kind of really commercially started well with social network to the day today. Okay, so keep that in mind, that everything we've recommended there are worth the read. Okay, so whether it's Contagious from John Bregan, fantastic book, really worthwhile, having it in your library. Again, just shows you how things catch on again, and social media really drives all of this viral platforms as well. And of course, the rise of platform marketers. Of course, that's not a recent book, but it's a relevant book because it talked about how some of those platforms, including social networks, have risen so far. Okay, so module workload, again, you're expected to work around those three areas, which is independent study, essentially consolidation, but of course application as well, where you are either attending a online session or a face-to-face as well. So I hope that makes sense. First things to keep in mind as a summary, make sure that you are registered in the module. And even if you're not, somebody can share this link with you, right? So you'll be able to see that. Somebody can also share the documents in there. So make sure you're on the module website. If you're not, talk to your program leader, to the admin. Make sure that you can see your timetable. If you don't know how to do that, go to BS tutorials@house.ac.uk. Again, I'm sure that your program leader has told you about that. Then you will see units for every week. And those units are where all the content is. Then you've got a Zoom link, a tab as well, where you can click in there to join the session you want to join in. Then you've got discussion topics as well. And then you will see that discussion topics are two groups. One is for essentially the discussion that we're going to have with you. So student to module leader discussions. And then, of course, there's another group of discussion, which is student to student. Now, what we're going to try and do to essentially be as effective as we can with all of you is to ask you to put all your questions around the module in the discussion forum, which has to do with student to module leader, okay? And the reason why we want to do that is because we want to make sure that all those responses that we provide are going to be seen by other students as well. We don't want other students to miss out on maybe the things that we said to you, which are going to be relevant to them. Again, in summary, sharing is caring, and that's why we're going to do that. So if you have any questions, please submit your questions in the discussion forum where everybody can see them in the thread, but don't email them to us. If you email us, we'll just say, please submit your question in the discussion forum, and we will answer that there. Okay. What else? That's pretty much it in terms of what we are going to do with the module. And we hope you're going to enjoy it. We hope you're going to get the most out of it. And stay safe, look after yourself, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.